Hey guys, welcome to another video on the Inside Spurs Show. Happy Sunday morning. Hope everyone's all right, everyone's okay and looking after themselves. In this video, though, we are obviously giving last-minute thoughts, minus the bad hair day, surrounding West Ham versus Spurs. We're talking about that. We're going to be talking a little bit about some transfer roundups, which, to be honest, I don't really take much stock in them, but I wanted to get it out there and get through it, to be honest. We'll also be a little bit of a shout out towards some players that played yesterday in regard to is like the loan players, because some of them had an immense day and some of them had title winning moments. So we're talking about that as well. So plenty of good stuff to talk about this morning, but West Ham is the most important thing today. Like I said, it's an odd one because obviously when you look at this game on paper, neither team really has anything to play for. Now, financially, the further you finish up the league, the more money you can turn over and the more money that you have to play with in the summer. But when you actually sort of think about it, there really isn't much to play for on paper. Okay. Now, yes, look, rivalry pride, it's a thing. It's a London derby. These games obviously matter. But in a weird way, both fan bases, I think, are probably at an all-time low in terms of how much they really care, you know? And I get it, to be fair. You know, West Ham, obviously, I've been through it in terms of performances recently. They've not really had, they've not had the best of form at the moment. I mean, the last 5 games, they lose 1-0 away to Wolves. They draw at home to Bournemouth 2-2. They lose away to Liverpool 2-1. They draw at home to Southampton, and they lose in pretty much the last minute of the game against Brighton to lose 3-2. You know, coming into this game, no wins in their last 7. The last win was the last win was February 27th at home to Leicester. And ironically, they actually won the game before that away at Arsenal. So there you go. They're not coming in with great form. It feels a little bit toxic around the West Ham fan base at the moment. You know, I'm not sure how much the fans truly like Potter. I'm not gonna even guess to say that they do or don't. I don't want to put a foot in my mouth in that, but it does feel a bit weird. So looking at this game, and I was sort of looking at really West Ham in particular, and sort of team that you can expect to play against us. And I was looking at the Brighton game. Now, they didn't actually play that badly against Brighton on paper, but it wasn't the best of performances. They go Areola in goal, Heung-Min, Mavropanos, and Todibo at the back. Emerson and Wan-Bissaka are the wing backs. Souček, Ward-Prowse, and Lucas Paqueta as your midfield 3. And Bowen and Kudus are your strike partnership. Yeah, not great, is it, really, when you think about it? It isn't great. I sort of predicted that, you know, it would be a 1-1, just purely because I don't think Spurs are going to be putting out a fantastic team. I think they're going to be rotating. I mean, I just want to bring it up because Alistair Gold actually had a prediction at his starting 11, which was for some reason. Oh yeah, so they predicted him and Rob Guest predicted the team, and Alistair Gold reckons Vicario, Gray, Danso, Davies, Spence, Basuma, Sarr, Kulusevski, Odeberg, Richarlison, and Tell. And then Rob Guest predicted Vicario, Porro, Danso, Davies, Spence, Gray, Sarr, Kulusevski, Odeberg, Richarlison, and Tell. So they're agreeing for the most part on the whole team, but they have a change up on Basuma and Gray. So one really reckons Basuma is going to be starting and Gray's at right back. And the other one predicts Gray will be in the midfield and Porro is going to be at right back. It's an interesting one because obviously Spurs, because of Bergval's injury, I think there's a few question marks, isn't there? By the way, good morning. I haven't missed any of you. It's leg day at the gym. Got any good news to get me pumped up? Ready? Mate, it's leg day. Just take some pre-workout. Just do that. I'm good, thank you very much, Al Dente. With Bergval's injury, and by the sounds of things, Bergval's done for the season. Okay, by the sounds of that injury, then you do have to kind of look at it as: does Porro have to play fullback this weekend to allow Gray then to play in the midfield, or do they go Gray at right back, and do they play, you know, do they play a Basuma sort of thing? It's a difficult one because obviously you're not going to expect Bentancur to play. You're not going to expect Romero, Mickey, or Destiny to play. You won't expect Solanke, Madison to play either. Kulu, I'd expect to get minutes in the midfield because I think he could probably do as a 60, 70-minute game, if I'm honest. Obviously, again, that though, it massively depends on how many minutes he's going to get. That's going to depend on Madison, isn't it? Because if Madison isn't going to be near fit for Thursday, then you can't really overdo it with Kulu today because you're going to need him on Thursday. So there's also that. It's a difficult one, really. It is a difficult one. I think in an ideal world, we would have signed another centre back. I need a haircut. That's what I do need. I need a haircut. That is mental. In an ideal world, we would have had Radu fit, and you'd play Radu and Dancer at centre half. You play Davies at left back, and you play Spence at right back, and then you play Gray in the midfield. That's what the ideal world would look like on a game like this. But obviously, that's not the case, and that's not how it's going to be. I think obviously it's a great opportunity for like Gray to build some confidence again and build some momentum. I think it's great for, players like Kevin Danso and Davies and Spence to get more minutes. And same with Pape. Richie only playing 45 minutes in the week makes a ton of sense that he would start this weekend. Tell played 45. He could get some minutes. And then Odebear. Yeah, that makes sense. I think, that'll be the front three. And then I think the other thing for me, and this will appease to some of the people who have been, chirping on about this. A part of me then also goes, if obviously you've got then a substitution coming on for the striking area, is it Mikey Moore? Is it Mikey Moore flavored time? And maybe that's what the play would be. And then obviously then you're saving then the Solankis, you're saving, even like Tellen Odebear that obviously might get some minutes. You'd be saving them a little bit as well. And I don't think there's any harm in that. I think that's maybe the way I would go about it. But yeah, I think my team, Vicario, Bingo. I know some people want Kinski and things like that, but making 7 or 8 changes is already quite a lot. Making 11 changes potentially is probably a stretch too far. Spence, Davies, Danso. See, I want Porro to be 100% fit because I thought Porro was magnificent on Thursday. The way I look at it, the way I would do it personally is I would do it the way other teams have been doing it in sort of the last few days in terms of the teams that's still in any European competitions. What they do is it's like these players are capped at this many minutes. They're not to play 1 minute more, right? So let's say Porro starts the first half, he plays 45 minutes, and Gray plays the midfield. Second half, Gray goes to right back, Basuma comes on and plays in the midfield. That I think could be a play. This weekend. So if that's the case, if you started Porro, for example, you play Gray, Sarr, Kulu, and then play Tell, Richie, and Odebear. That's the way I would go about it. That's the way I probably would go about it. Yeah, that's probably the way I would go about it, I think. You could go obviously the Basuma starting Gray at right back, and then maybe Porro comes on for that. But I just think you pour at the start will be fine, and then hook them. You know what I mean? Um, that since Potter arrival, West Ham have only lost 6 games, all by 1 goal, and Spurs have not won away in the league since 22nd of February versus Ipswich. There you go. I just want players come out of this game unscathed. Absolutely. Steve, how are you, mate? Porro, Doggy, 45 minutes. I don't think a Doggy will get any minutes today, if I'm honest. I think there'll be some academy players on the bench. I think there'll be a few starters on the bench. Like I said, Basuma obviously started the week, so I consider him a starter for this conversation. All right, so don't get angry about that. I think Basuma will probably be on the bench. Jono will probably be on the bench. Don't think there's no point Solanke needs to be on the bench. Let's not muck around with that. All right, just send him to Norway. Just send him out there. Scarlett, Mikey. I think you'll probably get a Romero on the bench just because obviously, you are down centre backs. That should be enough. That'd be enough in terms of those first teamers, and then just rotate, and then get some youngsters on the bench. And like I said, today isn't. It doesn't feel like the London derbies that we normally have. Like if this was in, October, November, December, I'm like, right, I'm up for this. This is going to be a mental game. And I'm now sitting there going, West Ham, they're safe. We're safe. Mad for us to say, obviously, for both teams. I think it's mad for both teams to say. But, we're safe. They're safe. Other than owners and maybe some bonuses and player contracts, there really isn't that much to play for in this. Like, I don't think any team's going to be sitting there going, this is bragging rights. It doesn't feel that kind of game just because it's at the end of the season. I don't, I flip it over this way. Let's say, because obviously a few years ago they were in the Conference League and they obviously won the Conference League, but they were in that sort of, let's say they're at that semi-final period and we played them, and we had nothing to play for. Let's say we were fifth and it's like, you can't finish any high, you can't finish any lower, right? There is anything to play for. I wouldn't be sitting there going, "Oh, we just beat West Ham's B team." Oh, I got bragging rights. It isn't that, and I don't think they would think that either. I think they'd go, "Have you seen who's starting for Spurs today?" It's not even remotely close to their starting 11 team, and I think it's the same for them. Obviously, that they're going through it a little bit right now of Potter. See what happens in the summer of Potter. I think he's a good coach. I think at Brighton he was somewhat helped by the Tony Bloom, Paul Barber work from the higher ups, obviously using that data system that Tony Bloom is famous for. It helps massively. Obviously, I know Chelsea wasn't the greatest at times, but I think Chelsea, that was a weird time with Chelsea. I don't think anything really worked there. Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see. I mean, there's West Ham fans in the chat, so hopefully they'll tell me if they want him there next summer or not. It's interesting. Obviously, he said that he hopes Ange and Spurs do well in the Europa, which I was a bit like, whoa, that's new to me. West Ham bros. As a West Ham fan, all the best for the rest of your European run. Anything to stop Manchester United, lol. Yeah, looks like we'll be, if we get through, we'll be dealing with Man United in the final. That's for damn sure. Kinski, so hang on. Vicario also needs to concentrate on the Thursday game. Kinski needs game time. I don't know if he will. I just don't know if he will play, to be honest. I'd love to see Ajayi get some minutes more in Scarlett. Yeah, I think Ajayi could be on the bench. That wouldn't be a bad shout. Yeah, that's not a bad shout. That's not a bad shout. I like that, Al Dente. And Timo, good shout there as well from both of you. It's a nothing game. Bring on Thursday and rest the starting 11. I think you're going to get like at least 7 or 8 players rested for this game. Potter is despised by Brighton. No, I know he's despised by Brighton. It's just more for you guys. Is he despised by West Ham fans or not? Or is it something that you kind of go, look, we're in transition. We need to get to the summer. We need to clear out some players and we need to bring some players in. I mean, there's a couple of my friends who are fans of other clubs who have said about like their club's quite interested in Thomas Souček in the summer. I think Leeds are one of them. They're interested in Souček in the summer. I think there's some interesting players that are in that West Ham squad that you go, there's a really good players. Like, we always look at Kudus, but Bowen, really solid player. I mean, we got linked to Bowen in the summer, didn't we? The previous summer, Spurs did, which was a bit odd. I like him, but he's not going to leave West Ham to come to us. not especially when his dad's Danny Dyer. But obviously, you look at, I think Tatibo is a good centre back. I think it's not been an easy season for him, but I think he's a good centre back. I think Areola's a decent keeper. But there's also, I think, a lot of that squad that kind of needs to get picked up, thrown out the window, and bring in fresh blood. I think that's what West Ham really need to do now, is bring in fresh blood. And obviously players that play towards Potter's system as well. That's the other thing. Who that'll be, I don't know. I really don't know. But it'll be one of those that I think they need to clear out in the summer, bring in some fresh blood, and then need to go again. Don't forget Potter spent 300 million at Chelsea. Well, you don't want to stay. Interesting. Okay. All right. I don't keep up to date on other clubs and if they like or dislike managers or owners. But do you think Ange will play more in Odegaard set? I think he'll play Odegaard to start. I think Mikey could get some minutes for sure. Yeah. Hey, Polly, how are you? Just play the kids. Let them have a go today. Nobody cares. No, I think you'll play. I think if you put 11 academy players out there, I'd be a bit worried because there are players in and around the first team that could do us some minutes. No, big Kev Danso could probably do us some minutes. I think Jed Spence, continuing that sort of football for him. I think Davies could do with some minutes potentially. I could do with Pape getting some minutes. Odegaard getting some minutes. I know, to be fair, Odegaard is young, so I'm not going to. That's not a fair one. Odegaard is young. Could do with maybe Tell. Again, Tell's another young one, so it's not a fair one. Richie getting, I think Richie getting 45, 60, I think today would be really nice, actually. And then obviously you have Dane on the bench. Get Dane on, Get Dane on, Mikey, all those guys. Williams Barnett, I think, played yesterday 45 minutes, didn't he, Simo? You could correct me if I'm wrong there. I think he played a little bit yesterday. Anyway, fresh draw today, no injuries. I see people like Danso, Davies, and Spence are the three first teamers that will start. I think Pape will get some minutes. I think Kulu might get some minutes. Odegaard, Tell. I think you're not going to get like. I think to be honest, I look at all those players as first teamers in a way. Might be able to do a man bun at the moment. There's so much hair on there. I think with a lot of them, they're sort of first teamers. So it's more about getting those guys. We talked about recently is the game that's sandwiched between the two European games. That game's a brilliant opportunity. 4 players, like we talked about Richie. Richie's been a massive one that's had a ton of minutes really in these sort of games that maybe we look at them as fans as a bit of a dead rubber. But these players are looking at going, I tell you what, a couple of good performances in here, then I can start the next game. Well, look at Richarlison. A couple of decent performances. He started on Thursday and got an assist on Thursday. And I think on another day, he probably would have had 1 or 2 other goal contributions, but he had a decent game on Thursday. And these sort of games are an opportunity to build that. I mean, he scored against Southampton and Wolves, and he sort of played then against Frankfurt and things like that. Who else could do? I mean, Big Kev Danso. This is a big one for me, Big Kev Danso. All right. The only thinking about Big Kev Danso is those 2 centre halves this season, like we knock on wood, right? We knock on wood, all that stuff. They've had some injury issues this season. And Kev Danso is the only centre half you have outside of those 2. So therefore, it'd be good to get him some minutes and keep him, ticking over because he may be needed at some point. And you think of Frankfurt away, last sort of 10, 15 minutes of the game, you threw Big Kev Danso on. The guy put his head on every single ball that came into the box. He blocked everything that came in his way, and he was bloody solid. So I think, keeping some momentum for him would be massive. It's all about rotation. Never do a man bun. I could do what the Aussies do and just grow out a massive, massive mullet. That's what I could do. I haven't got the hair for it. I just need to go to the barbers. I could go this week. My barber is actually, there's 3 of them. There's an Arsenal fan, there's a Spurs fan, and there's actually a Brighton fan. I have to go to the Arsenal fan this week. Maybe before Wednesday, actually. Maybe if I go on Wednesday or Tuesday, that would be the best day to do it. Kulu's looked a little bit rusty. He's coming back. He needs at least 60. Yeah, Kulu has looked a little bit rusty. I get it. Minutes there, I think, would be massive. Not surprised you want. That's not for me. Nige, how are you? Big up, everyone. We're feeling at the moment with Spurs. Hate losing games, especially against West Ham. Let's be honest. It's all about. It's a bit meh in the league. It's all about Thursday. Take a 1-all. Now, I think 1-all is probably what the scoreline's going to be. I think the 1-all is going to scoreline is going to be. Any news on Madison's injury? He has had a scan. We've not heard anything. I'd be interested to know if a journalist asked Ange that today. That's my guess on that. I mean, hell, he could be in the squad. You know, it's not shocking. But yeah, talking Ange. Let's talk Ange and what his own press conference. He talked about changes to the West Ham game. He said, "Yeah, likely. I think it's more important for us. Oh, sorry, I think it's important for us because of this quick turnaround, and we've had issues this year. We continue to have issues because it's just the way our season's going. At the same time, it shows you how important it is that the players who are playing." Are ready to go, like with this last night. We'll make changes to make sure we put in a strong performance, and we want to put in a strong performance. We were disappointed with last week, but also give some players a rest and also get some players up to speed because who knows who we're going to need for next Thursday night. And that's you know, and that's what I've been saying. It's massive for getting other players an opportunity to get some regular minutes. You know, so. It's massive. There's nothing really else in that presser that we need to be wary of or caring about. But you know, it is definitely something to think about when it comes to these players. You know, they can make a huge difference in our season by just getting them some minutes today. Boris reckons win 2-1. So, oh, Jesus, Boris. All right. Eddie's has given his lineup. He's gone for Vic, Porro, Danso, Davies, Spence, Bentancur, Kulusevski, Basuma, Tell, Richie, Odegaard. I'm not sure what the midfield would be, to be fair. I think you'd get Pape in there, and I think you'd get Gray in there. If that's what your back four is going to look like, I think you get Pape and Gray for Basuma and Bentancur. I don't think he's going to risk Bentancur. Not after his performance. I think even Basuma, I think the way Basuma played on Thursday, he's probably played himself into the second leg team as well. You won't see either of those in my opinion. I think you'll see the others personally. Zaynudin, come on, my friend. Come on, my friend. Could be huge if Madders is out for Thursday and beyond. Look, we don't know about Madders yet. We don't know Matters yet, unfortunately. We may know a little bit more today, but nothing just of yet. I just think because he's had a scan, normally takes a day or two to find out things. And I think we'll know probably a little bit more today, if I'm honest. Really quick shout out before I forget. Manuel Solomon scored the winner for Leeds to win the championship title last night, yesterday afternoon. So really, really good finish. Jamie Donnelly down in League One. He was top of the assist charts across League One. He only played like half a season as well, which shows you everything. And they made the playoffs. So did Notts County for George Abbott. They also made the playoffs as well. So good day at the office for good day at the office for those boys. Good day at the office for those boys. Gray could be getting some minutes in the midfield again today. Yeah, Ange did talk about the Liverpool game and the fact he substituted him at half time. And actually, I think Ange used it as a positive to say he will learn from this. And I think he will. He's a young player. He'll learn from it. He will. I think Ange will make selections based on us playing 120 minutes just in case. That's a shout, right? That's a shout. Faz, mate, how are you? Solomon Goal adds another couple of mil to the price tag. Look, I said only about 6 weeks ago we'd get 10 mil for him. And then recently been saying 15. By the way, for their first goal, he was the reason he created that chance, by the way, for the first goal. So if you're going to sell him, I think he's got 8 or 9 goal contributions in the last 7 games. So you're coming down to the clutch part of the season, and he's probably been Leeds' best player. It's 15 plus now, easily 15 million plus. I think, to be fair, look, if Leeds came up and they went 15 million, I'd go, thank you very much. We move the deal on. Like, I don't think we need to be haggling over 16 and 17 million. Just take the 15, wash your hands of it, get the deal done, move on because you've got a lot of business to do this summer, like a lot of business to do this summer. And that isn't just signing players. I know we all sit there and go, we need to add this, we need to add that. And could you imagine this position and that position? We've got a lot to do in terms of getting players out of the squads. We've got a really bloated squad still. There's going to be first team squad players that are leaving this summer. There's going to be players out on loan like Brian Hill, like Man or Solomon that may be leaving. You've got players that you need to get out on loan, like young players. I think Ajayi probably go out on loan next season. Lancashire, what's happened with him? Donnelly and Keeley are already out there at the moment. Matthew Craig, George Abbott. What happens to Ashley Phillips? You've got Vuskovic coming in the summer. There's Alfie Devine. There's so many things happening there that I think when you get a quick win, like if they went Brian Hill, here's 8.5 million. I just think done, ticket. He's 15 million for Solomon. Done. Ticket. Move him out the door really quickly. You can forget about him. Big long list of things to do. Tick the two easy ones off the start, And the irony is Leeds obviously have a foothold in this deal, but there's other teams that want Solomon who are Premier League teams. So we'll get the money that we want, you should think, Solomon keep or pay 50 million for sale. We won't be paying 50 million for sale. It'll be less than that. It's hard to say all the limited characters, but obviously I think a change of that's not for me. May the Fourth be with you. Yeah, May the 4th. Absolutely. I'll probably have to play Star Wars Battlefront 2 later to celebrate. Morning, EZ. How are you, my friend? If we rest all first team and play with the second team, who will captain the team today? Ben Davies. It'll be Ben Davies. Like my team that I predicted. Let's say we went with Vic, Porro, Danso, Davies, Spence, Gray, Sarr, Kulu, Tell, Richie, Odobert. It'd be Davies. It'll be Davies. Terrible, Steve. As much as I want it to be the original Battlefront 2, mate, it'll only be the remake. I'm insane at heroes versus villains. Give me Palpatine and you're going to all get smoked. Anyway, moving on. Let's talk some transfers updates because I don't. Again, when we talk about transfers, the key thing here, if there's another one that's just popped up that I need to talk about. We do not know who the manager is, right? We don't know who the manager is next season, and because of that, it's hard to say. Oh, this guy would fit here. I really want this guy because at the end of the day, I don't actually know who it's going to be. So we always take it on the pinch of salt. And I always kind of have it with the attitude of, right, it'll be Ange. Just use Ange, for example, because then at least it's easy to sort of work with, right? And it's easy to kind of go, well, he would fit here. Right? I'm not saying I want Ange, by the way. I'm not saying I want Ange. I'm just saying, there's talk about Jack Grealish still having interest from Tottenham alongside Forest Villa and Newcastle. A 40 million price tag. 40 million. We already have injury issues this season. We could do with, not having more of those injury issues. I've always said Jack Grealish feels like the most absolute Spurs player ever that's never played for Spurs. He feels so perfect for Spurs. The flair, the attitude, all those things. But it's too far gone. You know what I mean? I like him, but it's too far gone. Southgate, get out. Mr. How are you, mate? Thoughts pressure coming in. Yeah, there's no deal agreed or anything like that. But with Prachi, look, it still feels like with Prachi, he would need to work within a team, to be honest, because I've always said his opportunistic ways are interesting, but he can't sell a player to save his life. So that's why he needs to work with other people to help sell players because he's not very good at it. So Spurs throwing this game versus West Ham. I wouldn't say throwing, George. Wholesale changes, absolutely. Rooney Bargy, he had an injury, didn't he? He had a big injury. No, Spurs, they sign Fab and he gets down and he goes down, get day. How many Spurs? They sign Fab and he goes down, I don't know what that means, mate. An ACL. That was it. Yeah. That was it. CDC's here. Jesus Christ. You know we're having a good day if CDC's here. Dean Huijsen, another one for Court of Side, saying Manchester United, Chelsea, and Tottenham are all competing to sign Dean Huijsen, who's set to make a decision on his future. Right, look, let's get this one out early doors. Early doors. I like Dean Huijsen. I do. I think he's going to be an absolutely fabulous footballer. Fabulous. We won't be anywhere near the top of that list. We won't be anywhere near the top of that list for getting him. It's not going to happen. I know that he fancies staying in the Premier League, but but if Bayern are still there and lurking, Bayern will be interested in him, and Bayern will be ahead of us. If I expect Manchester United to want to pay the stupid wages. Chelsea be interested in him. You name it, they'll all be interested in him. Not going to happen. Not going to happen. If Sonny gets no minutes, Son won't be fit today. He's not in the squads. Sonny is still not 100%. He's been training alone on grass. So we'll have to wait and see if he's going to be okay to go next week. But yeah, no, it's still not happening just yet. Yeah. So I just saw something else I need to talk about. Spurs will sign Fab and he'll get going down jail the next day. Oh, would be our luck. Huijsen and Zabarnyi are so similar to each other, both screaming 2 foot. Yeah, Zabarnyi was another one we've been linked to. Another one that we linked to. Yeah, I've just found it. Just found what I want to talk about. See Bayern going since Dyer's off to Monaco. Good move for Dyer. Calvin Phillips. No, don't do it. Don't do it to yourselves. Don't do it to yourselves. Have we sold anyone yet? We're not buying until we've sold. Don't forget that. Yeah, we haven't sold anyone yet. Well, technically, we will. There's a guarantee sale in Pierre Højbjerg. There's one. But look, interested in, what is it? In Nkunku, Gallagher, and Dibbling still. And it's like, until you know who the manager is, this is such an irrelevant conversation. And that's the thing, like, I've seen about other channels across football that have question marks at their manager position. It's hugely irrelevant, all these transfer rumors. And look, they're very much out there mostly for clicks, likes, and interactions to get a bit of money for the person putting out there. But it's like, my thinking is, what is the point? It's like, for example, we've got Ange in right now, right? And you sign a really pragmatic player that doesn't suit the system. What's the point? Or you go the opposite route. You sign a pragmatic manager and you're getting a really flair attacking player that won't suit the system. What's the point of those links? There is no point. And until we know who the manager is next season, there is still no point. So for me, it's irrelevant. That's why I don't want to spend too much time in it. I want to speak more about the game today. I want to speak about, obviously, Thursday going ahead, because actually Thursday, obviously, very massive, very, very massive. And there is injury concerns. By the sounds of things, obviously, we'll know maybe a little bit more today from Ange. They'll ask him in the interviews and things like that. But by the sounds of things, it would probably be Solanke's okay to go on Thursday. That's kind of the gist. They said he's doubtful for today, so it makes you think then Thursday probably will have Solanke's name all right on to play on for it. Sonny training on grass on his own. You'd have to hope he's training with the first team squad Tuesday or Wednesday at least. I think Son won't start anyway. I think Son will come on. Is probably, if he is going to play on Thursday, he would be a guy that's going to come on at halftime or 60th minute or something like that. I don't think he's going to play from the start. Matters, we don't know about right this second either. And the sounds by the rest of things, other than Bergvall, the rest of this, and Radu, the rest of the squad's all good. So we'll sort of see how we go, really. Well, Ange went off about the leaks about Bergvall, and she says decent respect is now got. Look, there's another mole, isn't there? Ange has to now find the next mole in the club and get rid of them. So, and the thing is, my attitude around those moles is, regardless of who the manager is next season, I want these moles gone anyway. I don't want to know the team news 20 minutes, 20, 30 minutes early. I don't want to give opposition teams a leg up on us. I don't want opposition teams to know about our injury issues before even, us as fans do. Don't, like, you know what I mean? It's, we don't, we don't need, we don't need that. We don't need people to get a leg up on us. We already had it enough as it is, so let's not do that. Was Sonny's foot making it look like Tell would replace Sonny's position on left, and now it looks like Tell isn't really that great, and maybe his chance needs to be lowered? No, I just think Spurs want to lower his transfer anyway because they don't want to pay as much money. That's all. I don't know, the pragmatic manager prefer balance, attack minded. If West Ham lose to us, that's going to be extremely embarrassing for them. Your first YouTuber that has the same view on all these transfer rumors, there's no point to them until the end of the season or the summer. Yeah, I talk about them. We have a quick discussion and we just move them along the assembly line because Thursday this week is, in the worst case scenario, it really massively changes your summer window with less money to spend, more of a need to sell potentially. I don't think it's a need to sell for Spurs. It's not like a FFP situation, but obviously, if you're not playing in 4 competition, you're playing in 3, there's no need for such a large squad. That's just normal. If you get through, then everything still kind of goes the way it goes. There's no real plan cemented in place because obviously, if you lose the final, it's the same thing. If you win the final, then it changes it up and you might need to get in. You might still move off for some players because there is a bloated squad. You bring in some more quality. You've got more money to spend. You start planning ahead, for those sort of things. So until we know what happens on Thursday, for the negative side of things, then we won't know anything till the summer. And then obviously it's still going to be after Thursday. It's still another couple of weeks until the final, Yeah, I know, Baz. Who will play Madison role if you miss out on Thursday? It'll be Kulu. Yeah, it'll be Kulu. We should be selling Solomon in the summer, right? Yeah, I think so. Solomon deal is down to one key issue at Leeds, and that's future of Fark. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with him at the moment. There's a lot of Leeds fans that want him gone. I don't know why. I don't know enough about it. I'm not going to comment, but yeah, I don't know. It's 40 million of Max Kilman. God, we were linked with Max Kilman for a little while. That was one that we've dodged. Spurs, like all clubs, need to sell to make room for new players. Yeah, look, they will be moving off players this summer that you think of it this way. Werner will be gone. Reguilon will be gone. Forster looks like he'll be gone. Right? That's 3 squad spots off the bat from players that are on loan or running out of contract. I don't know if they'll extend Alfie Whiteman. I'm not gonna be one of those people that goes, "Oh, Whiteman needs to. Oh, he's crap. He's this." To be honest, the reason he's in the squad is because he's academy trained for Europe. If we're not in Europe next season, he won't be here. The way I look at it, if we are in Europe, he probably is still going to be with the squad because we're probably going to need him. Because obviously having him in the squad allows you to carry someone else elsewhere. That's why, right? But you're going to get those 3 gone. Those are 3 squad spots open up off the bat. Off the bat, they open up. If you moved a Basuma and Richie, that's 5 squad spots. Yeah, if you lose Bentancur and Romero, that's 7 squad spots. Then on top of that, you move a Brian Hill, you move a Solomon, those sort of things. And you're in for a big summer of exodus, I think, again. We won't be getting Jonathan Tah. He'll be off to Bayern or Barca. What's your honest prediction? It'll be 1-1 today, is my guess. Yeah, Miska, I wouldn't say he's a great player. They've been conceding some goals recently where he's had a massive part in it. So yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I don't blame you, Faz. I don't blame you. Yeah, we will be live after the game to review the game. Win, lose, or draw. We'll be live after the game. to have a sensible conversation surrounding all of it. So don't worry, we'll be live. Make sure you check back after the game. I'm normally live 10 or 15 minutes after the game, so check back and have a chat with me. We can have a laugh. We can have a giggle. All right. We Sesko, I don't know, something wrong with Sesko at the moment. I don't know what it is. We won't draw. We'll lose today, which means we're going to the final. Jeez, there you go. There you go. Look, anyway, thank you so much for joining me this morning. I really do appreciate it. Go and enjoy the rest of your mornings, your afternoons, your evenings, wherever you are in the world. Go and enjoy the rest of your days. I'll speak to you after the game to talk a lot more about Spurs. Take care, everyone. Peace.